Hmm. See this profiteering, taking advantage of unusual, exceptional circumstances. This is one of those unusual and acceptable or exceptional circumstances. Yes. How do you explain that you have intentionally fabricated false evidence against me? Yes. And then obligated me to go to court? Yes. And then refused to admit the evidence that would have exonerated me? And then explain the fraudulent use of mental health evaluations so as to make it look like I was going to be admitted to a mental institution? Yes. So that you could administer antipsychotic medication against my will. It's one of those unusual and exceptional circumstances. The county's been profiting itself at my pain and suffering? Yes. And then you took my sons, yeah, without any due process of law. Now, I think a full page ad in every newspaper of the United States, all the actual assets of the state? Yes. And then my use of the court system? Because I'm going to have considerable amounts of profit margin. Now, let's say that I wanted to generate some profits. I talked to you about intellectual property. Yeah. I talked to you about kidnapping. I told you in 3 million emails. Yes. And you decided that you were going to profit out of my pain and suffering. You were going to abuse restoration laws to misprison your own treason and felony. Yes, because some private businesses had taken control of another person's land. Yes, was not only harvesting my trees, yes, and my animals, right, but you were going to get paid out of the pockets of those that have been experimenting on American citizens. Yeah. Now, Heidi the Fat. Why do I have swelling in my mouth? Why is it so painful? Why am I bleeding in my mouth? Did you want me to go to the hospital? Gross profit margin, net profit margin, hog burner at the Nippon mill. Government leases to clean land where you harvest the hog fuel. Yes, known as stumps and the leftovers of logging. Yes, so as to create an efficiency of the mill. Yes, because only certain logging companies had the leasing rights to all that land. Yes, to provide the hog fuel. Yes, of the hog burner. Yes. Now I'm going to want to know all the hog fuel purchases. Yes, of every logging company that has produced. Yes, that has provided the hog fuel of the hog burner. How do you think you've been getting paid? Somebody's been making some really good deals in exceptional circumstances known as profiteering. Now, for the pulp mill in Port Townsend, yes, I'm going to want the ownership of it. And then for every one of the pulp providers that provide the pulp, yes, for the Port Townsend pulp mill, yes. Why don't you give me every employee that has worked there? Yes, as well as the electricity usage. Now, it could be, yes, that poor Townsend would like to understand, yes, that when I say I'm going to sue, I'm going to sue you. And when I tell you that I want my sons, I'm going to sue you. Because this whole time, you have tried to make it look like I was crazy for knowing I wasn't in Squim and I wasn't in Jefferson County. Now you're intentionally holding my sons hostage. So you get me the mills in Clallam and Jefferson County. You get me the pulp that has been provided to that mill. And you get me the individual companies that own the right to provide that. I think you should start writing letters. Now, I'm going to want to make some profits. It's called money. Yeah. It's what you get after expenses. Yes. And I'd like it, yes, if you would return my sons to me. Now, those, yes, that thought, yeah, that they had the right, yes, to the leasing of state and federal lands that had been logged, yeah. As I understand, hog fuel is the leftovers of logging. I'm going to want to own the mill. Could you enforce the laws today?